But make no mistake, we will get to the bottom of this, and we will find out who did this. We'll find out why they did this. Any responsible individuals, any responsible groups will feel the full weight of justice.
Well, that was President Obama in the hours after the Boston Marathon bombing, promising to find answers. But as we learn more about the suspects and their activities before this attack, some tough questions are coming up, including whether the intel community dropped the ball here and whether the justice community dropped the ball in terminating this interrogation while valuable information was being given up. And we're told that promptly stopped. That narrative, those facts, now have some suggesting that the Boston investigation could possibly go the way of Benghazi, when a similar theme appeared. This headline in the San Francisco Chronicle lays it out. Then, too, the president vowed swift justice. You can see, they write, will Boston probe falter like Benghazi? 7 months after Benghazi, authorities are no closer to an arrest or justice in that case. Joining me now, Brad Blakeman, the former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush, and Simon Rosenberg, who is president and founder of the New Democrat Network, NDN, and a former campaign advisor for President Bill Clinton. Well, one notable difference between Benghazi and Boston is, you know, a week after Boston, we found at least 2 of the guys who did it. I mean, they appear to be the 2 main suspects. We don't know. We've had several top lawmakers say there are other persons of interest in the Boston case. But we've got 2 guys. That's a heck of a lot farther than we've come in Benghazi, Brad.
Well, that's true, and a lot of the reason why we got to where we were in Boston with the suspects is because the American people helped in that investigation, and we were able to use the good efforts of local law enforcement to capture these 2 individuals. Unlike Benghazi, where the president did not give the directive for the FBI to move in and even come to the scene was compromised, as we know, in Benghazi by a reporter who picked up the diary, by people who came into the crime scene and were able to damage evidence there. So there is no suspects in Benghazi caught today. The trail is cold. The government has not given us the kind of information that they should have given us, whether it was a terrorist attack or not. The president refused to tell us what he believed it to be when we knew what it was. So I think, Megyn, in this case, in Boston, the reason why we've gotten so far is because the American people helped in that. And we're thwarted now in Benghazi because our federal government didn't match their rhetoric that they wanted months before a presidential campaign. It didn't match the campaign's theme that terrorism somehow is waning.
And opportunities escaped us as a result. I want to ask you, Simon, because the president promised the following in the days after the Benghazi terror attack on 9/11 of 12. Listen.
And make no mistake, we will work with the Libyan government to bring to justice the killers who attacked our people.
Where is that justice?
Well, Megyn, I think as we've learned in both of the last administrations, when these kind of attacks happen overseas or involve foreign folks, I mean, look, the Bush administration tried for 7 years to get bin Laden and never got him. And
they got a whole lot of people around him.
No, they did, but let's be clear that the mastermind of that was never captured by the previous administration in 7 years.
But who have we gotten in Benghazi?
These things are hard. These things are hard. I know, but to argue that the administration isn't trying is just ridiculous, right? This administration has been very aggressive at taking out high-level al-Qaeda operatives. Al-Qaeda is significantly weakened today. Look, I want to give credit to both.
I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. But no, it doesn't seem like Brad is suggesting, or the Chronicle, or there's a piece posted today. San Francisco Chronicle. That no one seems to be suggesting they're not trying. They seem to be suggesting they're not very good. They're not doing a very good job.
Megyn, I just said that this is hard. I mean, this happened in a foreign country that's in a chaotic place. That was different. We weren't really sure who really got it done. I think they are working very hard. Of course, this administration, the intelligence community, the Defense Department are working hard to bring justice. Why would there be any action taken other than that, other than wanting to go get the bad guys? We've been doing a pretty good job. I want to give credit to both the Bush administration and the Obama administration. One of the reasons there's so much news around these things is there haven't been that many terrorist attacks since 9/11. Our guys, for the most part, have done a pretty good job. And certainly we have to learn from the mistakes that were made in both cases and continue to improve.
And unfortunately, there have been several attempts. I mean, the Christmas Day bomber over Detroit, the Times Square bomber here in New York. they were within inches of accomplishing what they wanted to accomplish, but their bombs failed. It wasn't like we stopped them. It was their bombs failed. But Brad, can you speak to Simon's point of why wouldn't they try in Benghazi?
Well, after the Benghazi attack, it didn't meet the campaign rhetoric that somehow al-Qaeda was on the run and terrorism was not the threat that it once was. It didn't meet their political advancements 2 months before a campaign.
And how about in this case? How about in Boston? Do you see the motivations as different now?
Yeah, because the federal government has been embarrassed by dropping the ball on the two suspects. We know that the older brother was pinged several times, and I'm using ping because that's the language of Homeland Security, when he came back and forth from Chechnya after they were given warnings by the Russian government that he's been radicalized. So the government dropped the ball. The government's been embarrassed. While local officials have been heralded, the federal government, including the FBI, has been embarrassed by this, and the president wanted it to go away. So what did they do? They had a magistrate who's nothing more than a glorified clerk. If they have us believe that he made the decision, a big decision like that, to make the suspect Mirandized, therefore he wouldn't be available for any further questioning. When the FBI was rocked on its heels, the local FBI office, when they said they had other questions to ask this guy, they were getting information.
That's where people are going. I'll give you the last word on that, Simon. We're going to talk about this in our next hour, but you know, that they filed the criminal complaint when they did, before the suspect had even been released from the hospital, was fully capable of communicating and answering all questions that the FBI wanted. No one forced the feds to go in there and file the criminal complaint that day. Now some are asking the question about whether, here we go again. You know, we're so determined on the criminal justice system and so not focused on national security.
Megyn, I mean, you're a lawyer and you know probably more about this than I do, but you know that the national security exemption that was implemented by the administration lasted for, what, 5 days? I mean, and, you know, that's a long time. I mean,
what I heard... Are you talking about the public safety exception?
The public safety exemption, I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't. It was for 16 hours, and even the Attorney General just
No. They weren't, he wasn't read his Miranda rights within 16 hours on Friday, on that day. I mean,
of when the criminal complaint was filed.
On the criminal, but they were already talking to him, right? They were already having conversations.
No, there were 16 hours of interrogation according to the FBI. 16 hours of interrogation according to the FBI.
No, but it took place over 5 days. I mean, the thing is,
no, it didn't.
Are you sure?
He was in and out of the hospital. He was in and out of doctor's care. He was in and out of consciousness. And what they're saying is that in total there were 16 hours of interrogation where this man was able to speak, to communicate, writing, speaking,
right, but over a 5-day period, right?
He got
the 16
taken into
hours
the hospital on Friday night.
On Friday, and then the Miranda rights were on Tuesday.
The criminal complaint got filed on Sunday, and the magistrate judge showed up on Monday.
On Monday, so four days, right? Then 4 days. So I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
It's not
4
days.
Friday to Monday, right?
No,
is that, so anyway,
that math doesn't add up. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay,
I'll let you make your point.
Okay, we'll finish up. Is that I think this was a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil, and clearly the administration and the magistrate, right, I'm assuming they spoke to one another at some point during all this, you know, made a decision to move ahead and offer out the Miranda rights. I think it was the right decision to make. I think we were really pushing the envelope on this. And I know this is going to get debated, but I think it was the right course when you're dealing with American citizens on our soil with our, you know, with our laws here.
Understood. And there are a lot of people who feel that way. So we'll talk about it a little bit more in our next hour. Brad.